Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Homology Podcast, a weekly conversation with your HVAC team here at Vertex Mechanical. We're glad you've taken a few moments as part of your day to laugh with us, maybe learn something new, and be inspired.
Go all the way down.
So you're looking for the right angle when we're...
It might soon be time to do what you're doing there. Just
shave it. Yeah. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're glad that you're with us on the next edition of the Homology Podcast.
Yes.
I'm Josh.
And I am Vince.
And you did your cue great there.
Oh, that's great.
That's really great. And we're thankful that you're spending some time with us again today. For a few minutes, we're going to discuss a common question, really a common concern, and that is around the idea of when is it the right time to repair or replace your HVAC system. And you, of course, again, Vince, have had many, many decades of pondering that question. And here at Vertex, we do both. Right. And we do both with excellence and care, because there is no clear-cut answer to that question, but there's a lot of things that you can process regarding it.
Oh my goodness, I could overwhelm you with things to think about. But you know what it comes down to pretty much is this, and this is something that we actually have to really teach our techs. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of techs, their job's to fix things, right? So they want to come out to your house. You don't have heat, you don't have air conditioning. They want to fix it and make it happen as fast as they can. And sometimes they just forget about the fact that, hey, listen, you might want to reconsider this investment.
Yeah, and that's maybe the starting point for this discussion. Consider the investment. Yeah. And so we have a couple things we're going to chat about in a graphic that we're going to show you, because one of the starting points to consider is simply the depreciation of that investment over time in regards to the efficiency of the system. So here's a graphic that we're going to show you real quick. Just take a look at this. Yeah. And this graphic specifically talks about the cost of repairs associated with the age of your system. And again, there's not a cut dry number here, but this specifically starts to help you see that over time the value of your system in regards to its efficiency and its cost is it's depreciating. The cost of the repairs are appreciating, and it's time to consider that. So Vince, talk a little about just like a knee jerk, like when is it the appropriate time to begin considering, at least in years?
Yeah, so I mean, the average life right now of a unit is around 12 years. Okay. So we got to keep that in mind, because once we start approaching that age, you throwing a lot of money into it to fix problem A could be that problem B is right on its heels, and you could end up with 2 repairs back to back within that time frame. So when you start approaching that 10, 11, 12 year range, any kind of repair at that point is starting to get into a place where you need to at least consider. And I love the chart. The chart actually is very good. This is actually very close to something that we even teach our techs here. Is that, hey, there you go. When you start getting into that 10, 12 range, if you're starting to approach that $800, $600 range, that's time to start having a conversation.
And one of the reasons for that is over the course of a decade, the technological improvements on equipment have been so significant that actually we're starting to say maybe it would be wiser to invest your dollars into a replacement system, because the net cost of that is going to be less.
That's correct. And the other thing is too, is we get faced with this question a lot. Well, my last system lasted 25 years. Yeah. Well, my unfortunate news in this is the fact that, let's just face it, nothing is being built the way they used to. Yeah. Whether it's your refrigerator or whatever. But these are not built anymore to be 25. You get 25 years out of a current system, you really kind of got lucky. Yeah, I'll just have to say that. And so the likelihood of you getting there, is probably not super high.
So then, talk to me, Vince, a little bit about maybe what some of the the significant warning signs would be, because some of the small repairs that you will have to undergo consistently might be something like a duct that's out of place, or tear and tape. It could be something as simple as a drain that is clogged in your condensate drain or something like that. But what are some of the bigger red flags that you'd say, man, if you see this, or if one of our techs diagnosed this, then now's the time to call into our sales team and process that a little more fully.
Yeah, so I'll back up just a little bit on that. So again, we always talk about maintenance and how it's so important. And the reason is because techs have the ability way before. I mean, you talk about something like just a simple noise. Might be a noise that you've heard for a long time. You didn't really recognize it as being a problem. It's been there. The thing is, our tech walks in and right away hears that weird noise
They
and
know.
can tell you that, you know what, we might be on the front end of a bearing problem or something else that actually I can at least buy us some time right now.
That's
so,
great.
So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is too is generally I would tell people when you're trying to pay attention to your system yourself, as soon as you think you hear something different, that is the number one quick thing that you can have, you know, even if it's just a phone conversation with a technician, and be like, hey, you know what, my unit started doing this, and do you think it's something I need to be concerned about? Because there are some noises through the course of the year that may be a little bit different. Like this time of year right now, it's cold outside, our systems are going into heating. If you have a heat pump, and you hear it for the first time go into heating, and you hear that refrigeration, you know, cycle all of a sudden shift. That could be a new noise that people aren't interested in, or that haven't heard before. And you know, but still, if you're hearing something just doesn't seem right, the sooner you make the call, the sooner the better the chances are that it's a low cost repair, and we don't have to be talking about a system replacement.
Right, exactly. So then you hear a noise, and that could mean, talk about again some of the significant things that one of our technicians might be able to diagnose if they're there, that would be an immediate sense of time to consider replacing.
Yeah, so again, I would say that if you're talking about any of the major problems, such as motor replacements are not cheap, anything to do with the compressor refrigerant cycle, if you have a leak, it's not that leaks are expensive to repair, and a lot of times you might even have a coil. If the system's under 10 years old, there's a chance that coil's even under warranty. However, that's not where the money is. The money is in finding that leak. That takes time, and even with right equipment and all the right tools and a really experienced tech, you can spend sometimes hours looking for a leak. Well, that's time that's going to get invested that you're going to have to pay for just to even get an answer. Which so anytime that they start talking about, hey, we got a low charge issue, and your system's 14 years old, you might want to just say, hey, hold on a second, before we go into the trouble of looking for this, let's maybe look at some other options.
Yeah, that's great input. Now, you mentioned a word there that we can chat about just briefly, and this is one that is different for every system, but at least for the systems that we're installing right now, they're coming with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. And so that means that there is some protection against these type of mistakes. But we don't know what system you have or what issues you might face, but warranty is something to consider right on the offset when you're buying a new system, because it does offer a measure of insurance.
It does. Although I'm going to throw a little bit of a warning out there, I would say, just to pay attention to the fine prints in a lot of these warranties. Even the 10, so the best thing that a lot of people can get is a 10-year parts and labor warranty. That sounds really, really good. Several things to understand about a 10-year parts and labor warranty. When you read the print, they don't include refrigerant. They don't include the dispatch
Which is pretty significant.
So this isn't quite the same as your car. If you all of a sudden have a problem and the noise in the car, you take it down to the dealer, it's under warranty, blah, 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 you walk away with zero cost. It's not the same in the world of HVAC. So it's something to make sure that we pay attention to. The other thing is, too, is even under the warranty of labor, there is a lot of companies out there that will not, how should we say, the manufacturer won't necessarily cover all your labor costs. They'll do up to a certain dollar amount, and then you're back on the hook. So, just pay attention to what that looks like. And warranty, just because something's under warranty, does not get you all scot-free. Like, TXV, it's a very popular part that fails. It's not an expensive part. It's a $40 part, but it can be a $1,200 fix. Because you're talking about full refrigerant pull down. You're talking about, the labor to put it on, bringing refrigerant back up, new refrigerant going in. It can be very, very time consuming. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, for being under warranty, not really super satisfied about that.
So one of the things maybe to mention, as you're discussing warranty, is this concept then that warranty is not an excuse to ignore maintenance.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, but there's a sense as a homeowner, they're like, well, I have a warranty, so I can just disregard what's needed for it. Now, again, I've had vehicle warranties on things I purchased. Vince, I don't know. I do know. I've not owned a vehicle for more than 10 years, a single vehicle. But even in that tenure of my vehicles, I was intentional about caring for the maintenance of those vehicles. And certainly if I was hoping that it would last 10 years or longer, I was going to have to be very diligent about caring for it, regardless of the warranty that was a part of it when I purchased. The question is, why then do we sometimes have this attitude about our HVAC systems, which are, again, hopefully going to long outlast a vehicle that we buy, but why do we have kind of the attitude of, well, I have a warranty or it's a part of my house, so we kind of begin to neglect the maintenance? And what part of maintenance is, do we need to be most active in pursuing consistently?
Right. So I'll go to say on that, I think one of the things that we've all gotten very used to is, this is something that's in the house. It works.
Right.
It's making hot. It's making
Yeah.
cold. The
Don't
only
even
time
think
I
about
really
it.
think about it
Yeah.
is when it doesn't work.
Right.
And
That's
then
right.
I maybe second guess, oh shoot, I probably should have maintained it differently.
Yeah.
But it is something you need to be intentional on. It is something that is super duper important. Like something as easy as just replacing the filter. Now that's something that you should be doing. There are companies out there like us who will do that for you if you want that to be part of the
Right.
plan. But for the most part, most people, that is something you want to do on your own. I mean, it's something easy to do. You can go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy those if you want to. I have a whole different thing on the whole filters and how to select them, but we're not going to talk about that now. But getting that filter replaced on a 30-day basis, no matter if it looks like it or not, is worth it. And you don't have to buy the expensive filters. In fact, again, that's not something
Sure.
I would ever advise.
Yeah.
But so get the cheap filters and just keep them going in, and every 30 days, because what people don't realize is that simple airflow thing. The system is designed to have a certain amount of airflow, and if it doesn't have that airflow, it's going to create problems for you downstream.
Yeah.
It is going to run your utility bills up. And I try to tell people all the time that $5, $6, $8 filter, whatever it's costing you every 30 days, you most likely will get that back in energy costs.
That's right. I think we mentioned this in our recent podcast also on What's in a Filter, where for most of us, our perspective on the value of a filter is that it's just doing an air cleaning, purifying purpose, which it is. But more importantly, it's actually serving your system to be able to run at its peak performance. So that's one of the things, obviously, that would be a regular part of maintenance.
Right.
The other pieces you've already kind of mentioned here is that for us as a company, we encourage this biannual maintenance program, which means that twice a year our teams are going to come out there and are going to care for your system. And again, one of the reasons is they're going to be able to so quickly identify, hey, here's something that we can correct now, so there's not larger issues down the line. And that could be a simple investment, a simple fix that will save you thousands of dollars in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't stress enough. I mean, just having a professional on site, sometimes just his eyes, ears, and nose in some cases will actually tell him something is up, and something that you as a homeowner just had no clue. So it is amazing on that. But another thing to going back to the warranty thing, and another thing to really pay attention to is, for those of you that do have those great warranties on your systems, it says it right in it if you're not maintaining it. So the same as your car.
That's right.
If you decide not to change oil, guess what? Your engine blows at 30,000 miles, you're not getting a new engine. If they can prove that. So in your case, I mean, they need to see, they're going to want to see bills of sale. They're going to want to see invoices from a professional.
I mean, that's even true with carpet. You put new carpet in your home and it has a warranty. But that's only if you have scheduled cleanings for it as well. So so often that is part of the process. And if you don't care for it, then you void that.
And so many people forget it. I mean, it's just it's working, it's fine. That's why getting on on some sort of a plan with any company is a good plan, because they'll actually remind you, because they should be anyway.
That's right.
But that way it's not forgotten, because you don't want to get to year 5, 6 and have a compressor failure. 10-year parts and labor, sometimes lifetime on the compressor. But guess what? If all of a sudden you can't come up with maintenance records, you all of a sudden have a $3,000 fix.
That's right. Well, thanks, Vince, for this input, specifically on whether it's time to repair or replace our unit. There's lots more that we could have discussed about that for sure.
No doubt.
So, real simply, if you have questions about your system, if you're kind of concerned that maybe it's time to do something new, or if you're kind of curious about a maintenance program, if you're not currently enrolled in one, we'd be glad to talk about that with you. We've got an awesome team here at Vertex that can help you to get on a biannual plan that will help to support the care of your system and answer those type of questions for you. So
absolutely,
we look forward to hearing from you. Again, we're coming up on another segment of Stump the Youndt here in a couple of weeks. So if you have questions that you'd like to pass on to this guy, email us at contact@vertex-mechanical.com. So hope you enjoyed your time with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Hey, thanks again for joining us today. As always, we hope you enjoyed your time with us and that you'll return again next week. And if you need to get a hold of us, just visit vertex-mechanical.com to call or email.